Good morning, beloveds. It's kind of a yellow cast today. I'm not sure what's going on there. All right. There's a lot going on in the world. Please treat. Not going to get any more specific than that. All right. It is October 18th. I hope I put the date in right. If not, I'll fix it. We are doing part 2. Yesterday we did Life Healing 1, and so today we are doing Life Healing 2. And our author is Dana Gatlin. God is the Answer from 1982. And like I said yesterday, she's Unity. All right. Later, she carried the lesson of this experience into other phases of her life. God would work in every department of her life if she would let God. She must yield herself to God's power and let God erase whatever obstructions there might be. Discouragements, bitterness, anxieties, and petty concerns for self. She had to learn human forgiveness and the true meaning of trust and love. Her health improved steadily. A partial paralysis was cleared away as if certain parts of her organism had been freed at the same time that her mind was liberated from the constricting fears. She tried not to entertain any thoughts that had previously caused antagonism or dread. Her health improved and her opportunities increased, and her ability to meet them. Her environment became happier. Her attitude towards her associates, towards her work, and towards life was more friendly and optimistic. And one day she realized that her whole nature had changed. In all her dealings, enterprises, and situations, and in every smallest task, she learned to include God by dropping the mere personal attitude. It was first a formulated prayer that helped her. Then it grew into the very fiber of the being whence it came forth spontaneously. I am a creation of the Most High and am now open to its fullest blessings. And verily, in her manifest world, she walked with blessings, the most assured and dependable blessings in this changing world, for they came from the Most High. I am lifted up to the Christ consciousness. I am one with all love, good everywhere. I am at peace with the world. I am free. I am free. Okay, I have several swirling thoughts. Including ego, and including science and attitude and immune system. So let's hope I can touch them all. One of the things that Dana is talking about in this is that she is reminding us that we can get in the material world, we can get really caught up in the ego. Now, I'm not going to make the ego bad. I'm not going to make the ego wrong. What I'm going to remind you is the ego has a job. Its job is to keep you alive. That is its only job. And it takes its job very, very, very seriously, to the exclusion of all else. So, you might make choices based on your ego that are not helpful, because your ego is definitely me. Your ego only cares about one thing, and that is your material existence. It does not care about your spiritual existence, and to a degree, doesn't really care about your mental health either. Okay? So that's what I want you to remember. Ego has a job. It is to keep your material body alive, and that is it. That is it. Ego should never, ever be in the driver's seat, with the very rare exceptions of your physical body being in mortal danger. Okay? Other than that, the ego should not be driving. The ego should not be driving. And so if you can get, and so that is part of what she's reminding us. Now, another thing, and it was always fun for me when practitioner students, because as prac students go through the 2 years of training, one of the requirements is, because there's there's 6 classes, or 6 sessions, I guess I should say. So it's 2 years worth of classes. They have to have a practitioner session every session. And it has to, excuse me, it has to be a different practitioner every session. Now, no, but nowhere ever in the literature is it stated why, but I believe it's so that you can meet different practitioners, see different styles, so that you can get an idea. You can see, okay, one, there's a whole lot of different ways to do this, so that you can create your own style. You don't feel obligated to do it in this style. You meet a bunch of different practitioners. And so I always enjoyed being one of the practitioners that the students would call on. And one of my favorites, she probably wouldn't mind me telling you, but I'm not going to, because I don't have her permission. When she was a prac student, came to me and she said, well, I don't really have any problems. And I said, great. Then what we do is we treat for ongoing good. Everything is wonderful. We do a treatment of gratitude for everything being wonderful, and that it continues on in the highest and best. Okay? And so that's one of the things that Dana is reminding us, is that we don't just go to God when things are bad. That we go to God in all things. In all things. And why not go to that? So we call that praying up. Make sure that you're prayed up, so that you pray while things are good. You practice gratitude while things are good. That way, when things do go sideways, because, it's the material world and it gets messy, you know how to. Like that's why when I talk about the spiritual practice of self-care, doing something loving, kind, and compassionate, I say it every day. The reason is because when things go sideways, I want you to default to treatment, default to God. Have that habit ready, so that when things get out of hand, your first step is to go into treatment and give it to God. Now, that does not mean that you are not going to handle your own stuff. What it means is, the first thing you do is you go into treatment, and while you are in treatment, you say, I am open to divine inspiration, and then you listen. And then you take the divinely inspired instructions that come your way. Because they will. They will. When you go into treatment first, you are setting yourself up to see the opportunities, to see the good. When you practice gratitude, when you look for your blessings, then you start to, when you come up against that obstacle, you'll, because you're in a good mindset, a good mind frame, you can look around and say, yeah, I see that obstacle, but I also see this opportunity, this opportunity, and this opportunity, and ways around it. Okay. And it really does come from a positive mental attitude. It does come from a positive mental attitude. And it doesn't mean that we don't take time to wallow. Every now and again, a good wallow is a good thing, but we don't stay there. We don't unpack and live in the wallow. Okay. And that's what she's reminding us. Now, the other thing, so I've talked about the ego and I've talked about the positive attitude. The other thing I want to remind you is science has documented how our attitude affects our immune system. Okay. There's been a whole lot of research on people's attitudes with cancer. Okay. And people with outgoing, positive, I'm going to beat this thing, attitudes tend to do very well. Interestingly enough, people who are pissed off and angry and are going to beat this thing do very well as well. People who are not passionate and, don't do as well. It's not that they don't, but it's like, so there is something about our attitude that definitely supports or suppresses our immune system. The other thing is that when we're in a more positive mindset, even if things are messy around us, we tend to make better choices. We eat better, we exercise better, we get more sleep. We just take care of ourselves better when we're positive. or at least working that way. And that is what, that is exactly what our person in this story is. She's like, I'm gonna go to God. I'm gonna offload this to God. I'm gonna say, so she starts to relax. She starts to give up that fear. And her body responds, and it continues. And I'll bet you she made a whole bunch of different food choices, and she started exercising, and she started sleeping better. That is how this works. I mean, there's documented science behind it. So, and it all started with her going to God and giving up the fear, saying, I trust you to guide me through this situation. And then being open to all of the possibilities, because God will grant your requests, but God can only do for you what God can do through you. Now I say that, but the other thing is a lot of the times the answers to our prayers come through other people. And they may not know that, in fact, frequently they don't know that they're answering our prayers. So that's one of those things. But we've got to be of such an open mindset that we recognize the blessings when they come. We recognize the responses when they come. We recognize the guidance when we come. And that is what Dan is talking about. Go to God first. Pray up first. Pray up while things are good. And then you already have a habit set in place for when things get messy. Because I'm never going to sit here and tell you that once you start doing this, everything's going to be roses. Because I'm going to remind you that roses have thorns. But when we do our work, we're prepared for the thorns. We're either prepared to avoid them, or, take steps to minimize them, or at some point we just realize that, the rose is prettier on the bush and we're just going to leave it there. All right. So I would suggest to you the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to pray up. To pray up. To do it. To go to God while things are good. And be grateful and say, things are wonderful right now. I would like more of this, and maybe if there's a particular direction you'd like to go, but pray up, pray now, go to God now while things are good. And if they're not perfect, then that's okay. Go to God with that, but pray up while things are good. And, if you need support, you've got practitioners and ministers, and you got friends. You don't have to have a practitioner. If you got a friend that loves you, that understands the both and highest and best, then go to that friend and let that friend say, this is what I'm working on. Can you know this for me? And that friend will go, yes, onto your highest and best. So, when you need a little extra support, go get somebody to hold the space for you. It's still your work to do, but they can hold the space for you. I'm always happy to hold space for you, whatever it is that you're working on. And honestly, that is exactly what I do. When I meet people all the time, I'm like, I'm knowing the highest and best for them. Whatever it is they're working on, I'm knowing the highest and best for them. I don't know what they need. I don't have to know what they need. God always knows what they need. And so I'm going to hold the space for their highest and best, and that they know who they are. It's as easy as that. And I'm going to do the same for myself. I'm going to know the highest and best for myself. All right. I think that was interesting. I enjoyed that. I wasn't too sure where she was going to go, but here we are. All right. So the other part is the spirit, is the mission that I was referring to. It is the spiritual practice of self-care, to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. And honestly, praying while things are good, going to God while things are good, and saying, hey, things are really good, and I'm really happy, and I'm really grateful, and I just want to continue on that. That is one of the most loving, kind, and compassionate things you can do for yourself every day. Every day. Count your blessings every day. That's one of the reasons why one of the suggestions I give you is to take a deep breath before you speak, because it gives you the opportunity to think about what you're going to say. And maybe that negative little comment won't come flying out of your mouth. Maybe you're going to look at that negative comment and go, that's not true. And go with a response instead of a reaction. And I'm a big believer in taking a walk and taking a nap, and because you need to reset, especially when you're working on messy things. You need that reset. And that's what taking a walk and taking a nap are. Now, obviously, vacation, because I'm a week and a half away from mine. I'm very excited. And I'm excited because my brother's coming. So, and I'm going to go to the zoo. So love, kindness, and compassion. There you are. And it's one of those situations of don't save the good stuff. That's one of the things where my brother and I have, and I appreciate that he's willing to come to me. My weather's better, but he comes down, we go play, we have a good time together, and we bond, and it creates that. So, and while he's here, we're going to do that, where I say eat the dessert first. We're going to go out of our way to make the ordinary extraordinary a little more often. It's great. And it's especially even better because my husband and my brother are genuinely friends. They genuinely like each other, like spending time together. So makes it very easy for me. So that's, there we are. Sorry. So do that. Eat dessert first, but also make the ordinary a little more extraordinary. Wear all the fancy clothes and do all the fun stuff. A little more often than you do. And yes, the world is messy right now, but I'm going to remind you, joy is a quality of God. Therefore, joy is a quality of you. No matter what is going on in the world, no matter what is going on in your life, you deserve joy. Make room for it. Make room for it. It's extremely important to your immune system that you make room for joy, because joy is very good for your immune system. They do say laughter is the best medicine. Yeah, there's science behind that. So make room for joy. Make room for joy. Whatever it is. I've got a memory tucked in my head right now that brings me joy. And yeah. So anytime I need it, I'm going to pull that memory out and look at it and go, yes, and have a little joy. So please make room for joy. All right. The rest of the suggestions, the same basic suggestions I give you every time. Do something to engage your mind and your body, whatever that looks for you. I'm still on my bike, even though it's, it dropped into the 40s yesterday. We just layered up. I do encourage, yeah, I know, Jerry. I do encourage you to drink plenty of water. Hydration is super important. Your brain works better. Your body works better. Your skin looks better. Hydrate. I do encourage you to get that early in your morning, bright sunlight. There was this one particular curve where we come around and there we are right in that sunlight for a couple of minutes. It was fantastic. Reset your circadian rhythm, reset all those hormones, help you get that vitamin D. Trust me, you'll feel better. And it's between 7 and 9 in the morning that the sun's at the perfect angle for that. If you get up before the crack of dawn or after the crack of dawn, artificial light will work too. It's just 5 to 10 minutes of bright light. Okay. Open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you, you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us all the time. It's being willing to recognize that there's one source, that everything around us and everyone around us, every living thing around us is made of that same source. We all carry that divine spark. Okay. Which means heaven, because Jesus said the kingdom of God is within you. Heaven is a state of mind. It is a state of consciousness. It is the Christ consciousness, which she referenced in here. When we activate that Christ consciousness, which the password is love, okay? When we activate that Christ consciousness, then any place can become heaven. It ceases to be a place we have to get to and can become any place we are. So, 1, that's a state of grace. And 2, superpower. Didn't know you were a superhero, did you? You are the hero of your own life. So, count your blessings. Which literally, Emma says, look for the good and praise it. If you want to create that heavenly mindset, that is the way to do it. Count your blessings. Random acts of kindness. And consciously connecting. So, volunteer work. All that stuff. It helps. All right. I'm at the social media. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I'm the running Rev Ryan at the social media, on the social medias that I am on. So I encourage you, there are hours and hours and hours and hours of content on both of the YouTube channels. Feel free to go look at them. And email info@creativelife.org. That'll get you on the constant contact. Oh, which by the way, if you're watching this on Facebook Live, we are going to have a soul session tonight. It is going to be Reverend Arthur, and Reverend Jesse and Reverend Arthur have been friends for a very long time. When you get the two of them together in a room and get them going, so tonight is going to be phenomenal. I mean, all of the soul sessions are amazing, but you know what? I just know this one's, it's going to be so good. All right. So I commend that to you. And if you're watching this on YouTube, then go to the Creative Life Spiritual Center YouTube channel and look for the Soul Session playlist. It's going to be fantastic. All right, beloveds. I'm going to lean into this and encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, put your ego in the passenger seat day, a practice self-kindness day, a work on that positive attitude day, a pray up day, a good day. If that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You're a beloved child of God. You are a brilliant light, a divine spark. You are spirit in action. You are God in action. You are spirit in motion, God in action. And as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. So know the truth of your being. Explore the truth of your being. Get to know who God knows you to be, and peel back the layers of what society and culture and religion and other people have told you are. Get to know who God knows you to be. Because I can promise you that person, one, Christ consciousness, two, is really good and really cool. All right. So get to know who God knows you to be. All right. I'm going to move into the process of my day. I need to get to work a little early, so I got to go. Because we forgot to do something last night. So, for today, Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. with you. I'll be back with you around 9 a.m. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.